This is the Giants Postcast, your instant game reaction for the San Francisco Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR, or maybe from some of these other Locked On Sports postcasts we do. We also do the Locked On Warriors postcast and the Locked On 49ers postcast, which will be coming up in just a couple months. But today, the Giants had several days to rest and reset over the All-Star break, but you'd never know it from their terrible performance in their loss to the Toronto Blue Jays today. Verlander again was awful, as he only lasted 2 2/3 innings, gave up 4 runs on 9 hits, and honestly, it looked worse than that to my eyes. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. And meanwhile, the Giants offense, 11 hits, yet they failed to score a single run. 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. It's the same old Giants. It's the same old thing that we've been watching in this first half, and they got to do something to turn this around if they want to make that playoff push down the stretch. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Giants YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're tuning in, we appreciate it. Make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. My guy, Ben Kaspick, always does a great job. And this was frustrating. I mean, one of the more frustrating games of the Giants season, not the most frustrating, but just watching Verlander go out there and just give up base knock after base knock after base knock. And don't get me wrong, I know he had some bad luck in there. There were some slow rollers like that Alejandro Kirk swinging bunt down the third baseline. I mean, that's going to happen. But what you got to be able to avoid is the big hits after those guys get on base, right? And Verlander was unable to pitch around big moments in this game. And he's been unable to pitch around big moments in this season. Let's get into it. Top one, the Giants offense first, top one. Right away, let's Giants fans down. First and second, nobody out after Yaz and Ramos both single. I mean, nice start to this game. Nice start coming out of the break. You're feeling good. The Devers rips one, but right to second base, 106 miles an hour on the ground. Nice, easy double play for the Blue Jays. Then Chapman, ground ball to third base, ends the inning. Then bottom one, 2 on, 1 out. Verlander gets a double play to end the inning. Great play by Chapman to field that ball, step on third and fire to first. You know, at that point, I was like, all right, the Giants gave up, or Giants hit into a double play, but they got it back, right? Like they got the Blue Jays to ground into that double play. And for Verlander, I was a little worried when he got those 2 on, and then I thought, you know, let's give him a shot. He's had a lot of bad defense behind him, but it didn't look like the defense was going to play bad today. Getting that double play in the bottom of the first, I thought was a good sign. I thought he was maybe going to be able to induce some more ground balls today. And then things for the offense in the top of the second, same exact story as the top of the first. Back-to-back singles, only 1 out. Dom Smith grounds into a double play to end the inning. So we got 2 innings and 2 double plays for the Giants offense. And then in the bottom of the second, that's where we get to our turning point when everything just falls apart for the Giants.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
In the bottom of the second, this just was Verlander at his worst. And yes, there were some bad luck moments, and there were some other moments that were not just bad luck, they were just bad pitching. Let's get into it. Back-to-back singles to start the inning. One glances off of Verlander's glove on a hard hit ball back up the middle. Schmidt fielded the ball, but had absolutely no chance to make the plays. So that's a little bit of bad luck, right? Second runner gets on via a slow roller in the third base / shortstop hole and just out of the reach of a diving Willy Adames. I could argue that's some more bad luck. I can see that argument. I mean, you get a couple balls that in just very slightly different situations result in outs, but then double down the line, drives one in. Now you got second and third base with nobody out, and that pitch was not very competitive. Blue Jays take a 1-0 lead. Then a broken back grounder to third. Chapman makes the play, holds the runner at third. Now you're thinking maybe Verlander can get out of this and maybe somehow only give up 1 or 2 runs in this situation. But then another double down the line. And this is the one that was the backbreaker, an absolute hanging curveball that scored 2 more, makes it 3-0. And that pitch sequence, that was the third pitch of the at-bat. The first pitch was a ball, not very close. Second pitch, a curveball that landed right down the middle of the plate. I mean, I'm talking, could not put that on a tee in a more middle part of that plate. Then he throws the same exact pitch. I mean, slightly more inside, but the same exact pitch, just a worse curveball. It just hung there right down the middle of the strike zone, and it was plastered. Why in the hell would you throw the same pitch back to back? And by the way, the only reason the first pitch didn't get absolutely shelled was because he didn't swing at it. The batter watched that pitch. So he watched that pitch, he recalibrated, he said, all right, if he throws that again, I'm going to crush that ball. And then he throws it on the very next pitch. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's baffling to me that Justin Verlander is doing stuff like this at 40 plus years old. This guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Why are you throwing the same pitch that is just absolutely awful in back-to-back sequences? Like that's just not logical. I do not know why he did not change at least the batter's eye. If you want to throw that curveball again, sure. I mean, you saw some early at-bats in this game where the curveball actually looked pretty snappy. It wasn't really hanging there, so maybe he was feeling it. I understand that. Don't throw it right down the middle twice. Like what? Just absolute bananas logic on that one with Justin Verlander. Maybe he just missed his spot, but I for the life of me cannot think why you would throw that same pitch right down the middle twice. The ball was laced 107.2 miles an hour down the line. And then after that, then you get a little bit more bad luck. A ground ball gets through the right side of the infield and another run scores. And then he gives up another line drive single in the inning, 102 mile an hour off the bat. And then he hits a guy, finally gets out of it with the bases loaded. But the pitch count runs all the way up to 50 pitches after he was just after it took him about 17 pitches to get through that first inning. So, I mean, it took him 33 pitches to get through that second inning. That's hard for a guy like Jordan Hicks, who is an athletic guy who we talked about that with his pitch count a lot when he was still on the Giants. Is anytime that he had a 30 plus pitch inning, that guy was done for the rest of the day, just didn't have it. If that's happening to a guy who's 40 plus years old, his arm's going to fall off his body, man. I mean, just why? I don't know why he was left out there in the beginning. I thought that Melvin should have gone and got him after he gave up that hanging curveball double down the line to make it 3-0, because he clearly didn't have it. He was starting to lose command big time at that point. There was no reason to leave him out there. No reason to leave him out there for any longer. Then in the top of the third, again, the Giants get two runners on, first and third. This time they got two outs, and Chapman rips one to left at 106 miles an hour right to the left fielder. Doesn't even really have to move. Giants, again, can't capitalize. So if you're keeping track here, by this point, the Giants are now like 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, and we're only in the third inning. Maybe they were 0 for 6. But, I mean, the Giants just cannot buy a hit with runners in scoring position. And I know Verlander was kind of the big deal today with how bad he was on the mound. But the offense, I mean, I'm not going to say they were awful because they did generate 11 hits, but you got to find a way to come up with a hit with runners in scoring position. It is just mind-boggling to me that it is so difficult for this team to get hits just in that specific scenario. I mean, they've been fine for the most part, like pretty average, I would say, league average on just their as their offense goes in general. Like if you're just looking at things like batting average, hits, maybe not the power numbers aren't average. They're probably a little slightly below average. But with runners in scoring position, it's like everybody on this team forgets how to come up with a base hit. It is absolutely mind-boggling. Then in the bottom of the third, Verlander eventually gets yanked after he gets up to 66 pitches. His last at bat was a walk, and he's pulled. And so 9 hits over 2 2/3 innings for Verlander. Those 4 earned runs. And if Tristan Beck didn't come in and get that final out of the inning, he would have been tagged for a couple more runs as well onto that ERA. Verlander, his ERA for the season now sits at 4.99, and that's not very good. It is a slightly higher than his expected ERA of 4.82. In the beginning of the season, that was kind of a something that we looked at as maybe a sign that Verlander could improve. Was his expected ERA was almost a full point lower than his actual ERA. Now it's not. They're damn near identical. And by the way, that expected ERA, bottom 17% of starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. His expected batting average, 276, bottom 16% of starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. That fastball has been a big big swing and a miss, and not in a good way for Verlander. A -7 fastball run value for him on the season, bottom 8% of Major League Baseball. His pitches are finding barrels 10.4% of the time, bottom 21% of starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. He's not getting ground balls either. So what this is telling me is he's giving up a lot of hits. He's giving up a lot of hard hits, and they're all in the air. None of them are on the ground. 15%, bottom 15 percentile of Major League Baseball in his ground ball generation. 34.9% of the time he's getting a ground ball. That's not very good. So, Justin Verlander, what do you do from here? I said before the All-Star break, I said I would like to see a pivot to Carson Whisenhunt. I'm not saying DFA the guy. I'm not saying trade him or anything crazy like that. I don't even know if you could trade him at this point in his career, but I think his value is more than just what his numbers are, right? Like his value is being that veteran that Logan Webb can learn from and figure out how to take another step forward in his hopefully Hall of Fame Major League Baseball career if he stays on the path that he's on. Justin Verlander is a great guy to glean some knowledge from. Justin Verlander is not a great guy to have as a starting pitcher in your rotation. I don't know if Verlander would be up for this because he is who he is, but at a certain point, you got to consider other options for him. Maybe moving him to the bullpen, maybe skipping a start or two and letting him try and get that arm back. And then if that doesn't work, reevaluate at that point. But all I know is I don't want to see Justin Verlander out there in his next start. I want to see Mason Black. I want to see Carson Whisenhunt. I want to see anybody but Justin Verlander for his next start or two. Skip him. You got plenty of other options you can go to. Do it. Maybe have a bullpen game if you don't want to bring up one of those guys. Have Tristan Beck, who showed you that he's got some stuff today, come up and maybe throw a couple in at 4 or 5 innings to start a game, and then just have the bullpen do the rest. Tristan Beck, by the way, 6.11 ERA on the season, but today he really helped out the Giants, and because of Tristan Beck's nice cleanup job today and just eating some innings, we're going to give him today's player of the game. I really don't know who else to give it to.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
And Tristan Beck somehow avoided the Giants having to really dip into the bullpen today. He threw 4 1/3 innings today, only gave up 1 hit, struck out 2, didn't walk anybody. That's it. I mean, you got to tip your cap to Tristan Beck. He really saved the Giants bullpen from starting the second half off on the absolute wrong foot. You also had Matt Gage make his first appearance in a Giants uniform. He had one relatively clean inning. He gave up a walk. Matt Gage, if you're unfamiliar, so was I. I had to go do some deep dives on Matt Gage. In 2022, he pitched for Toronto in 11 games. In 2023, he pitched for Houston in 5 games. And earlier this season, he pitched for Detroit in 6 games. So this guy has only pitched 25 1/3 innings in his career coming into today. So he's a relative unknown. And I mean, his numbers don't look terrible, but they're nothing that's going to jump off the page at you. So shout out Matt Gage, number 93, making his Giants debut. This one was frustrating. After Verlander was pulled, by the way, very uneventful game. The Giants just kept getting little singles and then just kept ending the inning without being able to advance the runner much or scoring at all. So Giants lose today 4-0, even though they had 11 hits, one more than the Blue Jays. And Justin Verlander, man, I do not want to see this guy make his next start under any circumstances in a Giants uniform. We got more to get into today, including what you'll be talking about, which we got to talk about it. It's playoff push time. Can the Giants make the push to the postseason? We'll break that down next on the Locked On Giants postcast. Today's show is sponsored by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? Because we know this Giants offense is not going to make very many games thrilling. With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. And I've been telling you guys this for quite a while now. If you're looking for a bet, find the opposing starting pitcher. Bet the over on their strikeouts. Today, Chris Bassett had 5 strikeouts. I am honestly, I should have looked this up before. I'm unsure if that one hit or not. That seems like what probably would have been about Bassett's line. If it didn't hit, it was probably pretty close. And so ultimately, I'm going to keep rolling with this because the Giants strike out a lot, and they're not very good, especially against lefty starters. If you see a lefty starter on the coming up against the Giants, you should absolutely put some shekels on the opposing starting pitcher to get that over on their strikeout total. And if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, back at it after the All-Star break. I missed you guys. It felt like a long All-Star break for me. Like 4 or 5 days of no Giants is a very long time in my life. As you can see, if you're watching on the live stream, I have not shaved at all in the time that I've been gone. My whole motivation for shaving in life is just doing this show. So if I'm not doing the show, I'm just going to continue to look like Grizzly Adams. So I got to go clean up the beard after this show. Don't worry. We'll be all trimmed up for the next Locked On Giants postcast tomorrow. But man, today, the Giants just absolutely awful at the dish, awful on the mound, or at least Justin Verlander was. Tristan Beck was pretty solid, really helped out the Giants bullpen, and he gets today's player of the game for that. But really, what I was thinking about while watching this game is this a team that can make a push for the playoffs in the second half? Now, the Giants, we talked about it to end the first half of the season just before the All-Star break, on pace to win 87 games, or at least they were before today's loss. I haven't recalculated since they lost today's game. 87 wins seems feasible. You got 64 games left now, 65 prior to this one, so 64 games left in the regular season. To get there, they'd need 35 wins. Excuse me. To get to 87, they'd need 35 wins in the remaining 64 games. That sounds a little tough, but I think they can do it. I think the Giants ultimately are going to be able to get there, at least to that 87 win mark. The question is that going to be enough for this team to sneak into the postseason? I think 90 wins definitely gets you in. I also think 90 wins is a bit of a stretch for this Giants team. I mean, this team has not won the games that they are supposed to win. I mean, they lose a lot of games that when they play down to their competition, but they also play up to tougher competition. So they're kind of a hard team to read. They've had so many one-run wins, and those can all just change like so quickly that this team could very easily have been 5 games better than they are right now. They could have also been 5 games worse than they are right now. The Giants could very easily be an under 500 team if the ball had bounced a couple different ways. Of course, the Pat Bailey walk off inside the park home run, the Elliot Ramos Little League walk-off home run. Like, how many walk-offs have the Giants had this year that really bailed them out of what would have been otherwise pretty disappointing and bad losses? So you got to keep winning those games, and that takes a little bit of luck. But ultimately, the Giants, they have the 22nd toughest strength of schedule for the remainder of this MLB season. Their opponents' win percentage is .491, so below 500 when you total it all up. And when you're looking at easy opponents that they got, you got the Rockies, the Pirates, the Nationals. You play those teams a combined total of 15 times in the second half. So you got some winnable games on the table for sure. Some very, very, very winnable games on the table. They also play the Orioles 3 times, the Braves 3 times, the Diamondbacks 6 times. All these teams are teams that the Giants should beat. But will they? They've played down to their competition often. And with the way that this offense is going, so inconsistent in the way that this pitching staff has had to pitch for them to get where they are. I'm talking about Logan Webb being in the Cy Young conversation. I'm talking about this bullpen being the best bullpen in all of baseball. I'm talking about Robbie Ray being an all-star caliber pitcher. Are those things all going to hold up in the second half? These are all big question marks, except for really Logan Webb. Webby's not really a question mark in my mind. I think he's going to continue to roll, keep doing what he's doing. I don't know if Robbie Ray can. I don't know if he can. He hasn't shown that he can pitch a full season coming back from his Tommy John surgery. I mean, he has not done that yet. He's been very, very, very good this year, but you have to wonder if that gas tank is going to run low eventually in the second half. You also have to wonder if this bullpen is going to be able to keep it up, if they keep having to have games where they bail out the likes of Justin Verlander after 3 or 4 innings or less, or having to bail out Hayden Birdsong after 3 or 4 innings or less. If you have 2 pitchers in your starting rotation that can't confidently give you at least 5 innings, 4 or 5 innings every night, that's going to be a problem for your bullpen later on down the road. So it's a big question mark. I know that that's not the biggest hot take you want to hear. I'm not going to stand here and say the Giants are definitively making the playoffs or definitively not making the playoffs. If I had to peg one, I think that I would go with the Giants are slightly more likely to make the playoffs than they are to not make the playoffs. I do think that they'll sneak in as that final wild card team, but I want to bet my house on it. I mean, the Giants look so inconsistent that I just don't know what team I'm going to see from one night to the next. And by the way, it's worth mentioning the Toronto Blue Jays have been playing some damn good baseball. They're 15 games over 500, 56-41, and they are in first place in the AL East. Not many people thought that would be happening this year, especially with the pretty significant roster turnover that they've had in the last couple seasons. They still have their cornerstones. You still got Bo Bichette, you still got Vlad, and Chris Bassett looked pretty good today as well. But you still have a lot of question marks or a lot of relative unknowns on this Toronto team. But they're playing pretty good. This is the first time that they enter the second half of a Major League Baseball season, the unofficial second half. First time that they come back after the All-Star break, leading the American League East in that game since they won the World Series in 1993. Also the same year Triple E was born. So I have never seen a Blue Jays team do this in my lifetime. And so it's worth saying that the Blue Jays have been playing some pretty damn good baseball, and they are a good baseball team. So it's not like the Giants are losing to the A's. It's not like the Giants are losing to the White Sox or the Marlins again. This is a good baseball team. This is a tough team to beat. They're going to play you tough. And they're at home. I get all of those things. But still, no excuses at this point. You're in the playoff push mode. You're at the end of July. It's time to go. It's absolutely time to go for the Giants. And you got to start winning some games if you want to get to that 87-90 win range and maybe sneak in as that final wild card team in the National League. It's all the time that we got for you guys today. This one has been a frustrating start to the second half of the season, but got 2 more chances against the Jays. We already know, I've talked about this ad length during past shows. The Giants lose a lot of first games of series, still end up winning them. So openers or opening games of series, not the Giants' forte, but they close well in these series. So hopefully they'll be able to do that tomorrow and the next day. Side note, we will not be having a show tomorrow. Should have mentioned that at the top of the show. No Locked On Giants postcast tomorrow, but we will be right back at it on Sunday. So one brief day off for Triple E tomorrow, and then we'll be right back at it on Sunday to cover the final and hopefully the rubber match of this series after the Giants win tomorrow. We're just projecting the positive particles out into the atmosphere. It's all the time that we got for you guys today. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time. Peace.